Good afternoon, people out there in YouTube land. Want you to know I appreciate my subscribers and those who listen and watch my videos. You know, mostly it's about my cemeteries that I like to visit and the stories of the people in them and my religious views. And just, it's become personal vlogs at some point too. But anyway, as the title says, I'm starting a business. Many of y'all know that I have been cleaning tombstones for a little while now. I don't feel like I'm all that great at it, but they certainly look better than they did when I first start cleaning them. Part of my thing is to honor those who have passed on and to tell their story. But that's not what my business is. I know that surprises some people because I had a handful of people say, man, maybe you should just do this on the side. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and my background. About 20 years ago, I got into pest control, and I enjoyed it. I found it intriguing, and I was good at it. And I'm not trying to brag on myself, but I enjoyed it so much that I studied it. I studied the insects involved and the habits and what pesticides worked and what effects they had on the insects and how long it would take for them to die out and the percentages and all that. That whole thing just intrigued me. And I did this for 14 years. About 6 years ago, I quit. I walked away. I don't want to say I got tired of it because that's not true. I had my reasons to walk away. And I'm not going to go into that here because I just don't need to. Well, the whole time, I've pretty well kept up with things. I've read the articles on the pest control and read about new techniques because this was something I was always on top of anyway. And for the most part, I stayed on top of it. About 3 years ago, a friend and myself were talking about going to business, pest control. Actually, he was a co-worker of mine. He went ahead and he did it, and I backed off. Now, we weren't going to go in together anyway. We're going to be two separate companies. And he was doing quite well for himself now. His operation has grown tremendously. Meanwhile, he's been talking to me a little bit off and on and off and on. And I've just been missing the business, to be honest with you. Now here, at a time when I was thinking about retirement in the next 3 years, maybe, early retirement, and just kind of settling down and relaxing a little bit and, having my weekends to myself to do what I want, go camping and things like that I enjoy doing, go visiting. I just decided, you know what? I'm going to fire up a pest control business. Not going to work for anybody else. At this stage of my life, I don't want to work for anybody else doing pest control. So I started doing it. Now, I got a card here. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait before I show you the card. That way you'll see the logo and everything. The process was, in South Carolina, Clemson is the regulatory people. That's who you go through to get licensed. And you have to get several licenses to, now I've always had a license. And then in the 14 years I did pest control, I had a license, even though it wasn't required because you can work under your employer's license. But I wanted to be a professional, and I got my license, and I went from one large family-owned company, local here. It's a good company. Worked there for 10 years. Learned a lot there, and went to a larger chain company, but it was a locally owned franchise. And they were good people to work for, too. It was great working for two different companies because I got to learn more about how things are done, the different models of business, you could say. And so I learned from both. And I'm bringing that experience with me into pest control. Now, so in regulatory, I had to get my license. But since I don't work for nobody, I had to get yet another license. It's kind of like an owner's license. So it shows I'm working for myself. So I got the books, studied them just to brush up on things, took my test, passed with flying colors, got insurance, then sent in all this to Clemson University regulatory people. They cashed my check. I seen that. So I think it's okay to go ahead and say that I will be getting my license real soon. Hopefully within a week. So technically I'm not in the business yet. But I will be really, 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 really soon ready to hit the road and hit it. Now, I've had people say, what about where you work at now? Are you going to quit? Not at first. I would have to be wildly successful to quit where I work now, because I know how it is in the wintertime. Pest control business dies down. I would need enough quarterly pest control treatments. These are people that I go every 3 months to the house and I treat regardless if they have problems or not. This is to keep away problems. That's what it is. It's like a pest prevention program, and it's highly successful. And either company I work for, it was highly successful. So I would need to have that in order to quit my job. So I'm not going to be, again, time will tell. Time will tell. Time will tell. I have goals, and we'll just see how they work out. So, what's the name of your company, Mr. Fat Puppy? Well, it ain't Fat Puppy. I didn't want anything gimmicky. It's American Pest Pros. And I'm going to show you my card, if I can. I'm getting it now. Right there. And I don't know if you can see it, but at the bottom, under my finger, it says veteran owned and operated. American Pest Pros of Sumter. Note the pink ribbon. I wanted the pink ribbon in there to honor my wife, who went through breast cancer and fought it for a year. It was a hard fight, but she won. She's, I don't know, about 4.5 years now, cancer-free. And so anyway, I wanted to do that to honor my wife. And I'm very patriotic American, so I want American Pest Pros. So my buddy that started his own pest control company a couple of years ago, that I told you earlier that I was talking with, he designed that for me. I gave him a basic thing of what I wanted, and he took it and he ran with it, and he did a really, really good job. And me and him stay in constant contact with each other because we're friends. And so, see, we can be in the same business and sometimes be rivals and still be best of friends. Advice that Mr. Charles Chandler gave me when I first started working for his company, my very first pest control, and he started that company back in the 1950s. He said, look, there's plenty of business out there. You don't have to cut anybody else, and you don't have to cut yourself. And he is right. There is plenty of business out there. I've had friends tell me that, look, when you get out there and get working, you're going to find out that there's going to be plenty for you to do. And so, that's an encouragement, and I'm glad to hear that. So, look, if you're local, look me up on Facebook. I have a Facebook site called American Pest Pros, and maybe I can help you out, too. So, anyway, that's it. I'm going into business for myself. I'm not doing tombstones. I'm doing it getting rid of your pest. And they would be roaches, mosquitoes, spiders, ants, centipedes, just, whatever. Look here. Y'all have a good day. Keep me in your prayers, too. I do appreciate that.
Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe.